Howdy, y'all. It's election night. I'm sure some of you may not know that, but yeah, really everyone should. I voted this morning, and I just got confused by the camera because, I'm not that smart. But yeah, this is not a who did you vote for or anything. This is just I was super excited about voting because I get really funly excited about ideological concepts like that. And so I just want to give you my little spiel that I thought about this morning because I was just so excited. Is that I don't understand when people say they don't want to vote because honestly, I've never had a bad time voting. It's always been fun, but I like reading and knowing what's going on around me. But I don't know. It's kind of like you have an opinion about everything else. Why not have an opinion of who's making the rules and what rules get to be made? I'm in California, so there were like 20 propositions that I gotta have a say on. And yeah, some of them I didn't care about, like this community college down the road. If we get a sales tax to help them, I don't care about them. I don't go to that school, so no, don't want to give them a sales tax. But one of the propositions was to label a genetically modified food, which I would love for that to be standard in the U.S. because that's a whole nother topic. But I mean, if you have an opinion of where you should eat dinner and what books you like and what movies you like, and you can discuss that, I don't understand how people are like, voting, who really gives a shit? Because having a voice is kind of cool. I mean, even if the lines are long, dude, you do realize you can go, like, you can just skip work and they cannot penalize you. No country, I don't think any country in the U.S. can actually penalize its workers. They must let you go to vote. So grab Starbucks on the way and eat your coffee. It takes 30 minutes. You have a lovely break. It's beautiful. But yeah, that's just a little thing of voting is awesome. We shall see who wins. And honestly, I never really trust the doomsayers who are like, oh, if this other person doesn't get voted, the world's going to end, because they're on both sides and they're the same crazy people every year. So you know what, the world's not going to end no matter who votes. May you not always like the world that comes up, but honestly, I also believe that you should vote for your president. Not your president. The president of the people you vote for isn't a big deal, which is another reason why I think people should be more into voting, because people go, I don't know, the president gets the attention. The president can't make laws, and most of them don't use the veto function enough to say that they even have that much of an influence. You should look about your Congress people and see who's hiding behind the president and figure out what's going on from there. But anyway, that's just a little random spiel. Y'all mentioned you kind of sort of wanted a cooking show, and I don't really have anything prepared because, yeah, who knows? But I can tell you about the last thing I just baked last night, and I was really excited about it because I cooked it without a recipe, because I'm not a recipe girl. My thing is if I have to measure down to the 1/8 of a teaspoon, then it's not really me cooking, it's me following instructions. Cooking for me is about interacting with your food. And it may not always be the best because, you have to learn, and I'm not very patient. But it's about more than words on a page. It's about the food in front of you and what you want it to be, and your likes and your dislikes. So I like chocolate and banana. It's one of my favorite flavor combinations. And so a friend from work gave me like 3 bananas. I had 2 in my freezer. Also, once your bananas start going gross and you don't want to eat them, put them in your freezer. You can turn them in banana bread, which is what I did because I had 5 bananas, and that's just a lot. I also have a recipe if you want it for a chocolate banana baked oatmeal, which is kind of just like, I don't know, it was kind of like brownie, but made with oats and really moist and delicious and healthy. It actually wasn't bad for you. I think it was only like 200 calories for a breakfast-sized serving, and it filled you up pretty well. Anyway, I made chocolate banana bread. Ta-da! Banana bread. And it turned out phenomenally. And I was really surprised because normally for baking, you kind of have to go down to measurements. But you also, the way I like cooking is knowing why things work. You put salt on everything because salt highlights every flavor. It does not matter. Every other flavor has a flavor. Salt highlights them. So no matter what, this cake has salt in it because salt makes sweet taste sweeter. Just like it makes it, just salt everything. Even if it's just a pinch, it makes everything better. But like, for example, I know that in banana bread there is sugar, there is mashed bananas, there probably is flour or some other powdery thing if you're like anti-gluten. There is a liquid, but not probably very much because mashed bananas are actually very liquidy. And there is eggs or a binder. Now, and you have to know what each of them does. The liquid, and the liquid makes it moist and makes it steam. So you want a moist cake, and you want something that actually rises a little bit and isn't just like a flourless cake that's just flat. You want flour because you kind of want the cake. You don't want just baked bananas. Though I've heard those are actually pretty good. And the egg you put in, I put in 2 eggs, I think. Yeah, 2 eggs. And banana act as a binder to make sure the water and the flour stay put together. I also added in the sugar, like I said, vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon because I like cinnamon and chocolate. I like cinnamon a lot, actually. And I put in a pinch of salt. Like I said, salt goes in everything. And leavening agents. And those are the things that you put in that makes the cake rise. And there's 2 different schools of thought on leavening agents. There's the yeast, which sounds harder than it really is because I just started baking with yeast, but yeast is a living organism that eats the sugar in your bakery thing and produces gas. So basically your bread is puffed up with yeast farts. Science. Or quick breads. And quick breads are called such because yeast takes a while to rise, which is why you rise it and you knead it and you punch it down and you let it rise again. Yeast bread takes longer. It's not harder, but it is like a 2 to 3 hour commitment of time. You can leave and come back, but just know that it's there and you have shit to do with it. Quick breads are raised, leavened, whatever you want to call it, with either baking soda or baking powder, which are very similar but very different at the same time. Baking soda, we've all made that volcano, right? You mix it with vinegar, put in baking soda, and it fizzes. That's what happens in your cake. Baking soda has one of those. The second it hits that acid, like vinegar, it bubbles, which is why it's called a quick bread, because if you put that in there and you don't put it in the oven right away to set the form that it bubbled up in, it's just gonna fall. So that's why if you make pancakes and you stir them more than like a few times, that they just are gross. It's why with pancakes you should stir like literally, when they say just until moistened, they mean, yeah, don't stir it. Stir it like 3 times. If it looks remotely like batter, pop it in a pan. It's probably good. And there's baking powder, which has baking soda in it. And baking powder has 2 rises. It has the initial fizz with acid that baking soda has. And it also has a second one that's activated by heat. So you have a little bit more leeway. So I added both because I wasn't sure how much I wanted this to rise. And I was adding cocoa powder. Now we know that baking soda and baking powder react with acids, like vinegar. I think vinegar's an acid. If it's a base, I'm really sorry, I'm an idiot. Anyway, cocoa powder is also an acid. So baking soda reacts with cocoa powder. Except it needs to be kind of a liquidy form because to toss 2 powders together, they don't really fizz much because you can't see the bubbles being formed. So I was putting cocoa powder in here. So I added baking powder because I knew it wouldn't be used up. Because if you don't have it all used up, then apparently it tastes funny. I really only know that because I read Anna Green Gables. Yeah, knowledge comes in from weird places. So you toss cocoa powder, and cocoa powder I just kind of had a little bit left in my canister and dumped it in until it looked about the right color brown. And mini chocolate chips, because I love mini chocolate chips. They just kind of get in there and they're not like a bite of chocolate, but they're a little bit of creamy deliciousness. And then I stirred it till it looked kind of the texture of, you know, dough. I also added half a cup of water because I didn't have any milk. And I figured it might need liquid. It probably would have been fine without it, but then it might not have steamed as much. And steam makes your cake light and fluffy. So, yeah. I put it in the oven at 350. And again, 350, most people actually say that baking temperatures don't really matter. It's more about the range. 350 is just used in everything because it is a medium temperature oven. If you use some from 300 to like 375, that is a medium temperatured oven. Once you get to 400, you get to roasting temperatures, which is something where you want it to caramelize, but you don't want it to like cook down that much. And below 300 is a warm oven. Like if you want to keep mashed potatoes warm when Thanksgiving comes up, put your oven to 200 and just put pans in there. But realize that's still hot, because I've done that before. Oh, it's a warm oven. Reach my hand in and realize that 200 degrees will still kind of burn you a little, or a lot, depending on how long you hold on to it, because you're an idiot. But yeah, 350 degree oven, and I just set the timer for 30 minutes because I made a big pan. And I think it took around, because it was very thin though, so it wasn't like a huge thing. So I think it took around 45 minutes. I took 30 minutes and stuck my timer, my meat thermometer in there. Meat thermometers I love because they give me confidence, because I'm a rationalizer. So if I get like a little bit of dough on there, I'll be like, oh, it's done-ish. Carryover will hold on to it. Don't do that. It needs to be dry. If you stick a toothpick or a butter knife, or I use kebab skewers because I have them, or my meat thermometer, the temperature of done bread is 200 degrees, not 180. Like around 190 generally carryover would take you, but I tried to stop it once at 180 and I ended up with mush inside my bread, and that was really gross and I had to throw it away. And nothing is more depressing than working hard on a recipe and it sucking, which is why I was really happy about my banana bread. So yeah, that's about everything that I have for tonight, unless y'all are interested in seeing my CSA box. And actually, why not? I was excited. CSA means Community Supported Agriculture, and most regions have a few of these. A lot of them you have to go pick up your box. This one I have delivers to my house every other week, because I chose bi-weekly. And they're fresh organic vegetables from local farms. Local is open to discussion depending on how many farms there are in your neighborhood. It might be more or less local. California has a lot of farms, so they're pretty close. I could drive to these farms in less than an hour. And so I really like it because it makes me cook more creatively, because when you have random stuff and you just spent money on this, you kind of have to use it up. It is organic, so that's nice. I'm supporting local agriculture, local businesses, which is amazing. And I mean, it's just fun to be forced to do something out of your comfort zone. Because I'm not going to go out and buy, some random vegetable I've never cooked with. Because why should I do that? I know I make good mashed potatoes. Let's just buy potatoes. But when you get, and let me grab this. Comes in this box of awesomeness. When you get a bunch of Swiss chard, so I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. I might make pickles out of the stems, because I saw someone do that with rainbow chard. It was really pretty. Fennel, which I would have never bought because they say it tastes like licorice and it smells like licorice, and I don't like licorice. But I hear it's really good either made into soups or roasted. Oh, and this is just cool. This is like, this is a broccoli cauliflower cousin named, I forgot what it was called. They gave me its name the other day, but I forgot. But basically, it's fractals. If you can see, if you know the math code, fractals. It's really cool looking, but you roast this like broccoli or cauliflower, you steam it, whatever, put in cheese sauce, call it a day. Leeks, which I have wanted to cook with forever. They taste like mild onions. They were a vegetable found in ancient Egypt. And the kicker of, okay, what am I going to do with you? A red curry squash, which I have never heard of before. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So, yeah, I get to figure all that out. And because I spent $25 on this, I also got 2 apples and 2 oranges. And so, pretty good deal. I spent $25 for vegetables delivered to my door, fresh, organic. Oh, yeah, these were picked 2 days ago. Boxed up and shipped to me. Perfectly ripe. Done. So, I was thinking about making a soup, like with the roasted potato and the fennel and the leeks. And carrots, because carrots make everything better. And maybe like squish it down, because I don't have a blender or anything, so that might be harder. But I think that might be really good, like a creamy fall time soup. Let me know what you would do with the ingredients, because I am always willing to have ideas if you've cooked with that squash before and You know what the hell it is? I googled it. They say it tastes like chestnuts, which I don't really know what they taste like either, so wasn't particularly helpful. Anyway, happy election night. Don't stress out too much if your person that you wanted to win loses. And one of the favorite things I read today from a blog called Adulting, and I think she wrote a book, and it's just ways to be an adult, is if your candidate wins, don't be a dick. Know that just because 50% of people are probably going to be unhappy tomorrow, just don't gloat. Be happy with your friends. Be a decent winner just as much as be a decent loser. And I hope to talk to you guys soon.